As a maths person, you would understand that we're kind of halfway through the baby boom. In fact, like December this year, we hit the kind of peak, the apex of that population curve.
Yeah.
And we haven't been a natural importer of people because of COVID, so that stopped for a while. It's building up again soon, which I think is important for the country.
Yeah.
But the second half of the people retiring, they're retiring richer because they've been working longer through, a long positive economic cycle. They're retiring because they're richer, they've got more complexity. How are we going to meet that need as an industry? Because we are not making enough financial planners to meet the need.
It's a good question. I can make some suggestions, but I think under the current regulatory and educational framework, we're not going to meet that. We're not going to be able to meet that demand.
That's 6 million Australians, 2 million of whom probably have advice now, but there's still a gap of 4 million, which means that they're not going to get what they need to navigate what is a complex system.
Yeah.
So, and we know from the research we do at Core Data that advice changes security, changes outcomes, makes people richer, happier, and much more confident. To take that away, who's going to fill the gap?
Yeah.
Or what's going to fill the gap?
Well, Google will fill a lot of the gap, which is a problem.
That's a perverse outcome.
I agree. It's awful, but it's like government's been doing its thing for the last 15 years and exacerbating this issue by making it more difficult to access advice, but also making it less attractive and more difficult to become an advisor. So if we want to meet, and a lot of these people, interestingly, a lot of that 4 million will be able to afford our fees.
No, that's the 4 million who can afford it. There's 11 million retiring. Right. 4 million can afford what we need to pay.
Exactly, right? So, but we're probably still not going to be able to meet the demand just because we won't have the numbers. I mean, at the moment, what is it, 400 or 500 advisors coming in a year?
I think it's slightly less than that, and I don't really know the answer. I think there's probably 1,000 going to leave this year because of the changes to the legislation. Everyone's saying 5,000. I think it's probably 1,000. Yeah, but the replacement rate absolutely isn't there. And the average age of the current advisor is over 60, and the number under 25 is too small to count.
Oh, it's very small, and it's really hard. And then you look at if you're a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old just finishing school, thinking about what career path to do, look at some of the other professions, the journey you go through to get there, and then what you get once you're in. And then you look at financial advising and you've got all the practitioners complaining about compliance, costs, uncertainty, aggressive regulator, unfriendly government for the last 15 years. And how do you then make that decision? I think being a financial planner is an incredibly noble and important. And some of the stories I get to hear and witness are wonderful, right?
It's transformational in people's lives, mate.
If that was the story, if that was the only thing that people that are considering being an advisor heard, then we'd have people flocking. But it's not. And it's certainly not the story that a lot of the media tell. And practitioners are, particularly those that are veterans of the industry, they're tired. So it's going to be hard. And the government really needs to come to the party. I think the government is saying we're not going to fill that gap, which is why they're looking at creating this other class of advisor. I think what the government's actually saying with their actions is we don't really think it's possible, or we don't really want to fill that gap with fully qualified advisors. So we're going to create this other class of advisors who are really just going to be people supporting a product.